All right, so this has been the second bar that we've poured. Just got to turn it off first. Make sure there's just for safety reasons.
Look how hot that is.
Oh, it's not quite finished, that one. Bit of slag in it.
So you're just checking it to...
Yep, just to make sure that everything's all well and good. It's quite well off liquid as it is in there, as you can see. All right, so that's just a bit of slag. All right, but now that's pretty well good. We're going to give this a good pour. All right, now I haven't got long because it will cool quite rapidly. And here we go.
So what have you melted there, Dylan?
This is copper. So this is just making another copper bar. And with the looks of all that, I could have easily doubled the amount that I used in this little one today. So, meaning, I can fill that up. So that's going to be our next one that will go into here. But for right now...
That's the first time you've used that particular mould?
Yes, this is the first time I'm using this mould. I used the other smaller one earlier, just a size comparison. So, because I just wanted to see if I could get all of that into here without an issue, and just to sort of see the difference in the moulds and how it all will fit. So, but clearly I can just use that to that and this to that, which is fantastic. Brand new toy, having fun.
So you can get rid of a lot of the brass stuff and just put the, not the brass, the copper stuff that we've got laying around.
Yeah,
instead of taking it to like the recyclers, you can actually take it in bars.
Yes, and in this way, it's purified and everything. Like all this top bit, that's where all this, you can see it's all a bit funny.
Yeah, it's gone black now.
Yeah, so it's still very hot. This, yep. Very hot still. Now all that funny looking top bit,
yeah,
that's where all the slag will have settled at the top there. So that's about the first 2 to 3 mil. So once you just take all that off, but you can also see as well in the crucible the slag that was left behind.
Yeah,
because there's the way I was doing it before, I mixed in essentially what was there that was still copper, and what's left there is just the slag. So that will just need to be cleaned out, but that'll come straight out once it's cooled anyways, because these are graphite, so it will just slide straight out.
And that's where you get black hands.
Yes, you do get quite dirty handling graphite. You know, and but this was set on a low setting, and that took not even 10 minutes, I'd say, to melt. So quite happy with the result.
Yep, worth it.
Oh, absolutely. You'll get more money per doing that than what you would just taking in your old stuff anyways, because they've got to spend the time to strip everything down, cut it all up and smelt it themselves.
Well, so you get to have fun.
Yeah, and I get to make a bit more money doing it as well. This is actually a lot more profitable than doing it the other way around. So,
nice. Okay, it looks great.
So let's just see how this bar looks now. Use my secondary tongs, sorry.
Very deliberate moves there, Dylan.
Oh, yes. Oh, come on. I'll just turn it around so you can see. Yeah, we are.
There it goes.
Right, and just...
All that melted down to that. That's incredible.
So that, even with the gloves touching that, is quite hot. Now this I will take it to the wire wheel, and it'll clean up quite nicely. It looks just black and everything now, but if you look at the colour and everything here at the back, that's what it all will look like once I've cleaned it up. But this is well too hot to touch right now.
Are you just going to on the concrete, like what?
Well, you can put it in the water or whatever else if you wanted to do that and everything, but you may as well just let it normalise out.
Just don't put down a bit of old grass.
No, so I'm just putting it right there so it doesn't get dirty on anything else, and it will cool quite easily like that.
Nice.
Alrighty, so this is just my little cutting station. So any little wires and that, you know, we've just been stripping all these out, and then, you know, obviously just putting it into the crucible, things like this. All these little things that I've still got to get the plastics out and so on, and the little fiddly bits.
There we go.
Yeah, so all these little fiddly bits I've got to get out and everything, but that's just another little job. But what I've got prepared already is just over here. So these are just old pipes that I've just hammered flat, and then I've just cut them up with my metal shears. And this is all copper as well, so it's just literally a matter of just putting them in here and seeing how this one's going to go. Because I reckon I'll get a decent load out of that one.
Yeah, we'll put a bit more in there.
Oh well, we don't want to overfill the mould too, you know. So I'll just fill it up halfway like this for now, and just see how much I get out of that. So we'll
So that's more than what you put in the last one.
Well, the last one I used a smaller crucible as well, so I wouldn't have even been able to fit all of this in the smaller crucible.
Oh, yeah.
So
I filled up about half of that.
Yeah, but that wasn't a full crucible. When it was all melted, it was only about this much at the bottom.
Yeah.
In the other crucible. So when this melts down, it'll probably melt down to about this spot here. So yeah, it'll be interesting because I haven't used this one yet. So it'll probably take about 20 minutes or so to become liquid. And instead of last time using my clamps, I'm actually going to use my graphite bar, which is what you use to stir it and get all your slag out, things like this. Because again, all that stuff will just come straight off the graphite when it's cool, and it won't be an issue. It just saves having to clean your tools so often. So we'll get back to you once I light it up, and we can have a good look at that. All right. So while it's nice and cold, it's just, you know, the place in there you don't need to have gloves on for this. And it's not exactly cold. I mean, it is quite still warm in here, but yeah, if it's still red to the eye, because the camera doesn't will emphasize the heat and everything. So if it's still red to the eye and everything, you can't really get your hand near it. Don't put your hand in there. But for just in terms of lighting it, I'll just get a bit of newspaper and put it in there, and off we go. I just got to find what I've done with the newspaper now. There it is. I'm a bit all over the place. Yep. Bit like lighting your house fire, really. And you do it with the lid off to start off with. But as soon as I get this going, I'll have to chuck my gloves on, because as soon as there's fire involved, it gets quite hot quite quickly. So we'll just do that. All right, ready? 3, 2, 1, fire in the hole. All right, so now that's starting to roar up. Just wait for the little bit of a signal there from the actual crucible itself, because with that bit of paper in there we go. See, it's starting to try and fly out now, so we'll just grab that out of there, because that's excess carbon that we don't really need. Just make sure she's nice and firmed in. And just like that. Yeah, it'll do that. Before it was coming out in more directions than that. So a little bit of out the side isn't really too bad. It's just so long as you've got it's not coming out everywhere else, and you've got that lid on.
So how long are you going to cook that for?
So I reckon this one's going to probably take. I'll probably double it from the time I did this one, because it's twice the size of that and everything. So mathematically, it just sort of works out. It's just a best guess at this point. But while that's cooking, I'm going to be putting that up against the wire wheel.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Check in with you later.
Yeah, see you in 20 minutes. Okay, so if you remember, this is the bar that we poured, the second bar. So yeah, I'm about to take it to this grind wheel. So I'm not going to put it on this wheel. It's just going to be on this wire wheel, and that's going to clean it up quite nicely. You'll see. Okay, look at that now. Pure copper. I reckon that's about worth it. Just looking at it right now. So that's the top side. Bit that was all slaggy. Right, and clearly none of that slag. It's just the way it's been poured out. Yeah, it looks quite nice. That's a better pour than I thought it was going to be. So just like before, we're just going to turn it off. Right, just gently put that down. Yeah. Let's see what this big one's going to do for us, huh?
That means. That's a pretty good volume, isn't it?
And see how all the slag.
You can't really see with the camera, but there's slag down the bottom.
Well, we'll wait till it cools down a bit. Oh, trying to put it down on flammable things because that's quite hot.
So what have you got to say about this one?
Well, that one, like I said, we filled that up pretty much halfway with the flattened out pipes as before, as shown, and that's pretty much poured nearly a damn near perfect level mold with that, with maybe 1 or 2 millimeters from the top. So I think we eyeballed that quite well.
That was a good little experiment. So now you know your volume.
Yeah, roughly what volumes is. The thing I should have done in hindsight was that I should have at least weighed how much was in there before I melted it down.
Never mind.
But you learn as you go. So we'll just have to wait and see how this one's going to turn out in a minute. Because, like, you know, you can already see how even in the mould itself, it's getting a bit, like, it's quite warm around the edge.
Yeah, you can see the red on the mould.
Yeah, but this was gone from a mirror finish liquid all the way down to...
This was very... Through the camera, the middle of that crucible still looks white hot, and that's the colour that it poured out. So you can see a massive difference in the temperature with that.
And this is, like I said, these are pure graphite. So these actually, they take the heat quite well, and they do cool down quite well too. I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but it's already starting to cool from the top down already.
Yeah, you can see around the top rim on the outside. It's a darker colour than, like, there's a bit of yellow on the bottom. The inside still looks white, but the actual furnace is cooling off. You can still see pinkish, but it's cooled off quite quickly.
I'll just put that back on top of there just to keep it kind of warm.
So it's going to take a little bit longer to cool, obviously, because it's a larger volume.
Yes, but it won't take too much longer. I shouldn't expect, because even though, like last time, once it went black, I'd poured it out, as I explained before, it was still quite hot to the touch. And it probably took another 5 minutes before I was comfortable enough to take it to water, because if you put it in water too quickly, or whatever it is you're using to cool down, you're going to get that splatter, and it can be quite an explosive reaction, and we don't like to hurt ourselves. So we won't do that. We just wait until it's nice and cool. And yeah, because these are the tongs I use to grab the actual billet itself, or the bar, whatever you want to call them. These are just my forging tongs. I've got these for the gas forge, but they do quite well. They're quite versatile, and they open up a fair bit more than that one too, if you look. You'll see. So you're better off just using this to grab your billets and whatnot, and because it's nice, you got these nice little flat bits here and what have you. It's it's a better grip than what you do have here, as you see.
Yeah, it's not a true close, is it?
No, and that's by design, you see, because whatever you're using in the forge, normal it's going to be a lot thicker than that anyway. Yeah. But you can grab round stock, and all the rest of it. And I've actually widened the gap in this bit here as well, so that with the smaller one at least I can grab it by the side.
This one you can't.
No, this one I've got to grab it from the top. But while it is a little bit awkward, we did get a nice pour, so it'll be interesting to see how this one turns out. But while you're here, this is that one we just poured just a little earlier, after the wire wheel.
Yep, got that nice shine to it that you.
And this is that top
with clean copper.
Yeah, and this was that top that I said was probably going to most likely be mostly slag, and it's not. It's just the way that it cooled down on the surface, which means when I did my stir earlier and everything, I got all my slag out, and this is a pure bar of copper. So
nice.
Hopefully we'll get the same result with this one.
So this one's cooling off quite nicely now. It looks quite black.
Yeah, I'll be able to tip it out now. So just as before, nice, easy and slow, because we don't want to have accidents. As I've said, like even without the gloves, going near this is quite hot. Like I can feel the heat from here already.
Yeah.
You can still see it I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but you can actually see the traces of heat coming off, like as you would if it was smoke or steam. Ta-da!
Nice.
Now again, this is going to be very, very hot. So even though it looks cold, like whatever, every time you're working with metal or anything else like that, just because it looks cold doesn't mean it is.
I'm just going to assume it's hot every time.
Yeah, assume it's hot every time, and you won't hurt yourself. All right. It's only once you've made sure that it's cold by either letting it rest and not touching it for a while, or by cooling, purposely cooling them, will you actually be able to safely say that it is cool enough to touch.
Alrighty, so we'll let that one cool and you'll give it a swizzy later.
Yeah, I'll throw it into the water, because as soon as I put it in the water and everything, as I showed before, which was off camera, it does clean it up a fair bit.
Yeah, the black stuff.
Yeah, a lot of that black stuff just comes straight off, because that is just the graphite going onto the outside of that. And then once you hit it with the wire wheel, you've already seen the result. But hopefully we've got another little bar as well. So the next little experiment I want to do is just put that other one in there and whatever else.
Make them all the same type.
Make them all the same type, same size. Because the other bar is it's a little bit thicker, but it's a lot shorter too. So I'm assuming it's going to be about the same volume. Now I know that 2 of these should equal 1 of those.
Yeah. Okay.
So
you could weigh them.
Yeah, I could weigh them and find all of that out and everything.
That's an interesting way to take care of your metals and stuff, instead of trying to get them into a trailer or in the back of your car. And they're all sorts of shapes, because you've got in there old water pipes and other pieces. Just chuck those in a box and take them in.
Yeah. So I'm struggling with these ones, you see, like this, right? So obviously the mouth isn't wide enough on that one. This is why it's always good to have more than one set of tongues. All right, so it means I'm not going to have an issue with these ones.
Yeah, good stuff.
So yeah.
Right.
That's why it's always good to have more than one set. It's always good to have a variation in what you're doing. And this is exactly why. So yeah, to be continued, I suppose.
Okay. Cheerio.
And now for the bigger bar. So now that it's cooled down, I've thrown it into the water for all of maybe about 10 seconds. Just enough so that I could pick it up with my own hands, really. But yeah, away we go. And there you have it. Yeah. Pure copper bar.